Welcome everybody. My name is Dr. Tyler Molstry from True Life Wellness. Thank you for coming tonight. We are doing a wonderful presentation on the flu shot. It is a controversial subject. Lots of people are pro, a lot of people are against the flu shot. We're going to be discussing both sides today. Now I'm going to go through a lot of material and I'm going to present something that's a little bit different. In this practice, our busiest time of year is the fall season right through until about May. Now, after the last several years, what I have seen is that as we have holidays, we have an increased consumption of sugar, which is a known weakener to your immune system. So I'm pointing out here that we have in September no major holidays, but in October we have Halloween, which is a huge month of sugar consumption for kids. Again, as sugar weakens the immune system, it's going to make you predisposed or more prone to having illness, such as the flu or colds, even allergies. Then November, of course, we have Thanksgiving. In December, we have Christmas, Hanukkah. In January, we have New Year's Day. February, Valentine's Day. And then March or April, we have Easter. And again, each and every one of these holidays, we consume massive amounts of sugar. Pastries, cookies, candy, all sorts of things that you can see up here. And those are known to weaken your immune system. And again, as we weaken our immune system, that predisposes us to things like the flu. So is it really flu season? Or is it sugar season? As I said, it's the busiest time of year for us because we see more people getting sick with massive consumption of sugar. So I'm going to play a short video for you as an introduction.
Okay, it should be recording, okay?
Ash, I can't believe you.
Is this for proof?
She's the biggest baby.
It's gonna make yourself faint.
Ash, she won't do it if you do that. Now knock it off.
If you wiggle, it'll make it worse.
Knock it off. Knock it off. Ashley, stop. She won't do it if you do that.
You're done.
There, I can handle this. Ashley. Here.
I'm doing it.
Now, that was a bit silly. Like, really, how bad can the flu shot be? Let's talk about the history of the flu pandemic. In 1918 and 1919, there was the Spanish flu pandemic, which has been touted to have killed over 20 million people worldwide. Now, that's a pretty significant number of people, wouldn't you say? And that is scary. There's a picture here showing people lined up with their masks covering their face to protect themselves from the flu. The Asian flu pandemic of 1957-1958 killed approximately 1.5 million people, again, worldwide. That's a lot of people. In 1968 and 69, the Hong Kong flu pandemic killed 1 million people worldwide. Then there was the swine flu pandemic of 2000 and 2010. That killed over 18,200 people worldwide. That's according to most sources. Now, the interesting thing that you'll see is that when we look at the World Health Organization charts, there were only just under 14,000 confirmed cases and only 98 confirmed deaths. The CDC states that they confirmed 41,800 hospitalizations and only 2,000 deaths in the United States. So who is right? They're saying two different numbers, two different organizations. Who's right? But what you're going to find in the next 45 minutes is that there are a lot of inconsistencies and a lot of incongruencies. So why should people get the flu vaccine? Well, according to the CDC, influenza is a serious disease that can lead to hospitalization and sometimes even death. Now that is a fear statement. They're trying to scare you. And of course, the CDC recommends a yearly flu vaccine as the first and most important step in protecting against flu viruses. Well, of course, that's what they're selling. Now, this isn't a conspiracy theorist sort of thing. It'll all make sense once we're done here. But let's look at some of the ads that they put out. This is a pregnant woman, obviously. Down here in the bottom corner, I want you to see what it says in yellow. Vaccination can protect both pregnant mothers and their babies from flu and flu-related complications. They're scaring you. They want you to think that you're not a good mom if you don't have your kid vaccinated. And here, down in the corner, again, I'll protect my baby, I'll get my flu vaccine. What it says is, they rely on you to protect them, get them vaccinated. Same sort of story here, I'll protect my baby, I'll get my flu vaccine. They rely on you to protect them, get vaccinated. Here's another one, fight flu. Right down here in the corner again, it says, protect me from flu, vaccinate me. Aren't they tugging at your heartstrings, trying to convince you that you're not a good parent if you don't get vaccinated or if you don't have your child vaccinated? Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. And here's some more ads that they put out. I'm healthy, I don't need a flu vaccine, and then it goes on to discount why healthy people still need the flu shot. It's too late, yada, yada, yada. So why should people get the flu vaccine? Well, right off the CDC website, there's a paragraph that I cut and pasted here. It says, even healthy people can get very sick from the flu and spread it to others. Over a period of 31 seasons, between 1976 and 2007, estimates of flu-associated deaths in the United States ranged from a low of 3,000 to a high of about 49,000 people. So a range of 3,000 to 49,000 deaths, depending on the year. Again, if you can't see that, here it is in larger font. But here's the thing. An annual seasonal flu vaccine, either the flu shot or nasal spray flu vaccine, is the best way to reduce the chances that you'll get seasonal flu and lessen the chance that you'll spread it to others. Again, that is a sales pitch, folks. I want you to understand that. They want you to take the vaccine, not just because it's touting that it's going to help you with your health. But let's talk about whether or not the flu is deadly. I went through some numbers going back to 1976, 3,000 deaths to as many as 49,000 deaths. Let's look at some actual numbers. What the CDC will tell you, in 2004 there were 59,600 and some deaths due to the flu. In 2005 there were 63,000 deaths. In 2006, 56,000 deaths. In 2007, almost 53,000 deaths. But when you look at the CDC's National Vital Statistics report, the numbers are completely different. And I'm actually going to go through that with you in a second. But let's look at it from a different perspective. In the 9/11 attack, there were 2,740 deaths. Between the years of 2006 through 2008, there were 2,600 deaths due to the flu. It's a very, very small number of people who die from the flu. Very small number. So let's take a look at this. This is from the National Vital Statistics reports on the CDC's website. They're PDFs, anybody can access them. This happens to be from 2004. Now what I'm going to show you here in yellow is the total number of deaths for influenza, flu, and pneumonia equals just under 60,000 deaths. Now if you look closer at the subcategories, the pneumonia caused 58,000 deaths of those. The flu itself, only 1,100. 1,100, but they used a number almost 60,000 to scare you. Here's 2005. Same sort of idea. They say 60,000 deaths, only 1,800 of those were deaths to the flu. In 2006, 56,000 total deaths, only 850 of those were to the flu. 2007, almost 3,000 deaths, only 411 of those were due to the flu, and yet they fabricate these numbers saying that, oh, 58,000 or 53,000 deaths caused by the flu. Do you see how they mislead you to think that this is truly a life or death situation? It's very misleading. So let's talk about how the flu shot works. One second. So the flu vaccine works like this in theory. Both the flu shot and the flu spray cause antibodies to develop in your body. These antibodies, in theory, are going to fight off the flu. By exposing you to these dead or attenuated flu viruses, your body should build immunity to it. Good in theory. But now there are problems with the flu shot. A lot of problems. First of all, how are these viral strains selected? You have to understand there are hundreds of different flu strains all of the time. So according to a 2008 article in the journal Vaccine, the flu strains are constantly evolving and mutating. Constantly evolving and mutating. In February of each year, experts from the FDA and the World Health Organization review different surveillance sites across the world, across the globe, to determine which virus the flu vaccine should address. Now keep in mind, there are hundreds of different flu vaccines. So they're looking over in Japan in February to determine which flu viruses they think may come over to the United States. But now I just said, these flu viruses are constantly mutating. They're constantly changing. So even if we predict accurately in February what's going to happen in September, October, November, those viruses have mutated and are probably not going to be the same virus that you're vaccinated against. According to the FDA, factors considered in the selection of individual strains include things like the prevalence of the virus, how much of it is there, how often are people being infected by it, the virulence of the virus, meaning how strong is that virus, and then most importantly, the ease of manufacturing the vaccine. It's a well-known fact that some of the stronger viruses and the more deadly viruses are very difficult to vaccinate against and very expensive to vaccinate against. So they choose not to create a vaccine for those because it's not easy. According to FDA, again, the seasonal flu vaccine is a trivalent vaccine, meaning it's attacking 3 different strains. Only 3 out of potentially hundreds of different virus strains that can infect you or cause the flu. This is a quote from Cynthia Morrow. She's a medical doctor in New York. She says, each year's vaccine is determined at least 6 months. That's what we just talked about. 6 months prior to the start of the flu season. Infectious disease experts predict which viruses are most likely to cause the flu during the following flu season. They do this because it takes that much time to develop the vaccine, then manufacture enough of it for the number of people who will want to be vaccinated with the flu shot. So they're looking way in advance and hypothesizing or guessing as to which flu strain may cause the most problem. But again, going back to a few slides prior, it still depends on how easy it is to create a vaccine for, to manufacture. Now, here's a little bit of a kick. If you do get the flu, despite being vaccinated, or if you choose not to get vaccinated, contact your primary care provider immediately. There are antiviral medications that may alleviate the worst effects. They also may help prevent influenza. So if they have these available, why take the chance with a vaccine? We're going to show you some stories that would make you consider otherwise. This is a parody. I'm going to play it for you. I'll turn off the light.
Health Canada says the best way to avoid the flu is vaccination, which in many provinces is free. Well, let's see if these recent flu shot recipients can help reveal the mystery of why Cheetos and Pop-Tarts list their ingredients while vaccines do their best not to. Are you aware of the ingredients in the vaccine?
I know there's some egg products.
I don't think they offered us a list of ingredients, though.
That, no, I don't. This is blind faith for me. But did you know that there's mercury in that shot?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I did not. No. Are you glad that it's free?
Yes.
But you know it's not really free.
Yes.
Well, that's paying through our taxes, right? So. If I sneeze right now, would you be okay with that?
No.
Well, these people confirm 2 things. Some are happy to wait in line for a secret serum, and nobody likes getting sneezed on. But what if drug companies are right? What if tricking your body into thinking it's already sick doesn't make you sick? What if there's not enough vaccine to go around? You should know that making your own is easier than brewing your own beer. And it could save your life. Well, the first thing you need is a live virus. Now, is there anyone here suffering from the flu? Sir, would you favor us by discharging directly onto these chicken embryos?
Maybe I could do the
Okay. We now have our chicken embryos and our live virus. Now, from the pickled frog jar at your local school's biology class, we'll keep that virus dead like the drug companies do with formaldehyde. Now, careful, don't get any frog in the mix. That'd be gross. Now, let's add a little ether. Careful, don't fall asleep. And then we dump some detergent in there. That keeps it clean. And remember when your mother lost her mind when you played with mercury because it never leaves your body? Well, that makes it a great preservative. If you have a thermometer, well, staying healthy is a lot more important than room temperature. Now, all of this goes into the centrifuge, like this blender, and... Hey! It's vaccine for the whole family. Well, the debate over whether vaccines usually don't work or aren't fully safe may never end, which at least explains why the contents are rarely publicized. Fine. But it's government recommended. Oh well, that's my eye on the flu shot.
So again, pretty funny, but there's a lot of truth in that parody. A lot of truth. So let's talk about the ingredients. He mentioned there's a virus that is inactivated. It means it's been mostly killed. It's not completely dead, but it's been mostly killed. It's called attenuated. The flu mist has the attenuated virus as well, which means it's alive, but it's virtually dead. Alive, but not quite. Now, they have to grow the virus on eggs, chicken eggs. So each strain is grown separately to decrease the risk of mutation. Antibiotics, I've listed a couple here, but antibiotics are used to increase the production of them, of the viruses, and to prevent bacterial contamination. However, many people are allergic to antibiotics, and antibiotic resistance, of course, has become a very big problem around the globe. So now they have to purify the virus. So after the virus has been allowed to replicate on the chicken embryos, it's recovered and purified from other components of the eggs. So manufacturers use detergents, like he said, to solubilize the contents of the eggs. Detergents are not meant to be consumed. Now, the virus-containing fraction is then washed with sterile buffer solution to remove any other ingredients. Sometimes, however, trace amounts of eggs are left in as well as detergent and sucrose, are left in the vaccine. And of course, people do have allergies and reactions to eggs. Of course, they're going to have reactions to the detergent. Other ingredients that may be included are MSG. And most of you know that MSG is an excitotoxin. It's a flavor enhancer used in foods. It's also used as a preservative in the flu mist shot. So MSG, one of the excitotoxins that you want to avoid, has been banned from a lot of restaurants. They put it right into your vaccine. Now, inactivating virus. Injectable vaccines use the inactivated virus, which means it's no longer able to cause infection. So according to manufacturers' literature, they use propiolactone or formaldehyde for this purpose. Again, trace amounts of these may be found in the vaccine. Now it's time to formulate the vaccine. So the FDA says purified virus is next diluted into a standard dose by putting it into small concentrations similar to body fluids. Yada, yada, yada. They combine and add it to bottles, pre-filled syringes, and nasal spray containers. Thimerosal, a mercury-based compound, is added to all multi-dose containers as a preservative. Thimerosal has been raised as an issue in countless studies. There's been concern that maybe it's contributing to autism. Whether it is or isn't is irrelevant. the thimerosal, or mercury, is bad. It is a mercury-containing compound used as a preservative. Each 0.5 milliliter dose from a multi-dose formulation of flu vaccine provides 25 micrograms of mercury as thimerosal. That is above the threshold for what the government has considered safe. It's beyond. It's toxic. Here is an image of a thimerosal label, and if you read that over there, it says very toxic right on the label. It's been used for decades in the formulation of different vaccines. It's recently been removed from most childhood vaccines, but it's still in the flu shot. I love this slide. Quality control and lot release. I'm going to read this word per word. Each batch or lot of vaccine undergoes rigorous quality control testing to ensure it meets FDA standards for safety, efficacy, and stability prior to distribution. Newly produced lots usually exceed FDA standards for potency. This allows for the loss of potency over the shelf life of the product. They just contradicted themselves. They said it undergoes rigorous quality control to make sure it meets FDA standards. The next sentence says that newly produced lots usually exceed the FDA standards. So that can't be that rigorous. They're exceeding the standard. Do you understand what this is saying? There's a lot of incongruency here. Here are a list of the symptoms, some of the symptoms of the products used in creating your flu vaccine. Please note, it says right here, and this is right on the CDC, this is not a complete list of all side effects that may occur. You can't even read those. I'm not even going to begin to start reading those. It's ridiculous, folks. This is what we're taking in year after year. This is what you're giving your kids. Here's one more video so you understand the dangers inherent with the flu shot.
Well, now, this is a story of an amazingly beautiful young woman. She was training to be a pro football cheerleader, and she got a flu shot. She says that shot has destroyed her chances of happiness. We told you about her story last time. Now, Les Trent is with this woman for a first-hand look at what her life has become.
She's the beautiful cheerleader whose heartbreaking story is shocking the nation. 25-year-old Desiree Jennings showed me how she can't walk without twisting, jerky movements. But she walks backwards normally. Doctors say she has a rare 1 in a million neurological disorder that was triggered 10 days after she got a seasonal flu shot.
Started with me not being able to eat without passing out.
You couldn't eat without passing out. I visited Desiree and her husband Brendan at their home in Ashburn, Virginia, to see what their daily life is like. She has to go up and down stairs backwards because something as simple as walking forward can be dangerous. And here's the unusual part about the disorder. Take a look at this. Desiree can run just fine. It's only when she stops. You see, that's where the spasms start. Now you can walk backwards though, and it'll make it better, right? She runs with a normal stride, and as I ran with her, she even spoke normally. And now you can talk.
Yeah, it's weird. It fixes as soon as I start running.
I mean, you sound
I know, it's great.
you sound amazing. And then you stop, and that's what happens. Desiree got a flu shot on August 23rd. 10 days later, she came down with what doctors have diagnosed as dystonia, a rare neurological disorder. Her jerking and twisting are the result of uncontrollable muscle contractions. There is no known cure. Are you all ready?
Yeah.
This is home video of Desiree as a beautiful bride when she married Brendan 2 years ago. And this is a photo when she was training to be a cheerleader for the Washington Redskins. Doctors say what happened to Desiree should discourage people from getting flu shots. But here's what the woman who's on the wrong side of being 1 in a million says. Running has to be a relief.
No one's gonna have left.
Only thing you have left.
Now, if that doesn't resonate with you, if that doesn't put a little bit of fear in you, then there's nothing I'm going to do that will scare you. So that's the good news. but I want you to know that there are risks involved with anything that isn't natural. So let's just go through a couple of things. Again, according to a report by the CDC, that's the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, flu shots may prevent far fewer deaths in the elderly than previously thought. The report highlights that although immunization rates in the elderly, that's people over 65, have increased 50% in the past 20 years, the rate of immunization or flu shots has increased 50% in the last 20 years. There has not been a consequential decline in flu-related deaths. It's not helping. That was in the Archives of Internal Medicine. Most people suffering from fever, fatigue, cough, and aching muscles think they have flu. They don't. Instead, they have influenza-like illness, ILI, which is associated with a lot of different germs. In one study, the Centers for Disease Control, the CDC, found that only 13.4% of people who had flu symptoms actually had the flu. So when you think you're getting the flu, you don't probably have the flu. You have an ILI, an influenza-like illness. Your respiratory illness might be the flu if you have fever, cough, sore throat, runny or stuffy nose, body aches, headache, chills, and fatigue. Some people may have vomiting and diarrhea. This doesn't sound a whole lot different than the common cold, does it? Except for the vomiting, perhaps even the diarrhea. Other viruses can also cause respiratory illnesses similar to the flu. So, this is right off the CDC website. You can see the link here. So, it is impossible to tell for sure if you have the flu based on symptoms alone. If your doctor needs to know for sure whether you have the flu, there are lab tests that can be done. So your doctor doesn't know based on your symptoms whether or not you actually have flu. They have to do a lab test in order to determine that indeed you do have the flu. So again, indications of flu include sudden onset of headache, a dry cough, and chills. They may quickly become similar or more severe than those of a cold, such as a high temperature of up to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. It's going to subside on the second or third day, and then respiratory symptoms like nasal congestion and sore throat will appear. So within 5 to 7 days, your symptoms of the flu will be gone. Oftentimes, it will maintain for days or weeks. But if your symptoms only last 5 to 7 days, it's an ILI or even the common cold. The symptoms experienced during the flu are the body's natural attempt to eliminate infection. So keep in mind that if your body becomes infected with something, your body is trying to kill it. It's trying to burn it out. That's what a fever does. The fever is trying to make your body an inhospitable place for those bacteria, those viruses to live. The body raises its temperature high enough to kill the infecting organism and increases mucus production, hence the congestion, to soothe irritated tissues that have become inflamed due to the immune system's response. So all of those symptoms that you're experiencing are your body's natural processes of killing and protecting your body, killing the viruses and protecting your body. You have to understand that that is a natural process. If you inhibit that, if you stop it or you interfere with it, your body won't deal as well with it. You've got to start to learn to let your body deal with things naturally. Dr. Mercola, famous medical doctor, says the fact is the flu shot does not prevent illness in most people, but actually does just the opposite. It weakens the immune system and makes you more predisposed to the illness. When you put in those foreign chemicals, formaldehyde, mercury, etc., that weakens your immune system and makes you more susceptible to other illnesses. Dr. Hugh Freudenberg, who is the world's leading immunogeneticist, says this: if an individual has 5 consecutive flu shots, this study was done between 1970 and 1980, the years of this, that was the year of the study was done, his or her chance of getting Alzheimer's disease is 10 times higher than if they only had 1, 2, or 0 shots. Again, he says it's due to the mercury and the aluminum bioaccumulation. That article was written by Dr. Mercola, Dr. Circus and by Johns Hopkins in 1998. So, is medicine working? Now, this isn't a question of whether or not medicine is effective, because medicine is very, very effective at its goal, which is alleviating symptoms. But, this is again a quote by Dr. Mark Circus. Allopathic doctors, medical doctors, forget the most basic principles of health and disease because they do not care to look into the realities of the patients they treat. They do not want to take the time to understand weaknesses in patients because they're eating too much sugar, they are malnourished or getting inadequate rest, or if they're just suffering from intense emotional stress. They don't look at those things. The CDC deals with disease, not health. They don't know how to help you get healthy. They know how to fight disease. They would not stop and think that patients who exercise would be better protected from the dangers of the flu than patients who had the vaccine. So the ultimate question is, how do we avoid the flu naturally? Well, it's pretty simple. You build a stronger immune system. There are two ways, there are actually a lot of ways to do that, but the two easiest and most important ways to do it are to A, build and improve your nutrition, and B, build and improve a stronger nervous system. So let's look at those individually. Improved nutrition. You want to eliminate sugar because sugar weakens your immune system. So you want to avoid things like bread, pasta, rice, potatoes, cereal, candy, soda, and juices, especially juices from concentrate. When you have juice, it's mostly sugar. So we eliminate sugar and your immune system will be stronger. It won't be weakened by the sugar content. The other thing to do is to eat whole foods. So eat more fruits, eat more vegetables, eat more meat, and eat a lot of fat. Lately there's been a fad that low fat is good. Fat is a great thing if it's healthy fat. So things like nuts, nut butters, or regular organic butter, and avocados, those are great sources of healthy fat that you need. Then, if you need, and only if you absolutely feel it's necessary because you're not eating properly, you can supplement with good omegas. Make sure you understand that the quality of the brand is important. Vitamin D and Conjuplex. Those are the three flu season supplements. So here's a picture of an omega-3, and this is the one that we happen to carry. I feel it is the best on the market. It's Green Pastures Fermented Cod Liver Oil. It comes in capsules. This is Garden of Life's raw vitamin D3. It's a great source of D3. And then if you're experiencing any sort of symptom, the first thing that we go to is Conjuplex, right here. Conjuplex is a standard process product that is completely organic and natural. There's nothing made in a lab anywhere in this. It's called Conjuplex. This is a great supplement for when you're experiencing symptoms of any sort. The second way to build a stronger immune system is to make sure you've got a strong nervous system. And that's pretty simple. Get adjusted. Your brain, spinal cord, and nerves control how well your immune system works. If your brain, spinal cord, and nerves aren't communicating to your body how to fight infection, then you don't stand a chance. And that's the problem with putting in these foreign chemicals in the flu shot, because that weakens your immune system by weakening your nervous system. If any of the nerves become blocked or choked, you're not going to be able to fight illness or disease as effectively, leaving you predisposed to both illnesses and diseases. So make sure you're getting adjusted during the flu or the sugar season. Every function of the body is controlled by the central nervous system, or the nervous system. That is from Gray's Medical Anatomy, and that is the Bible in terms of functional medicine. The immune system and the nervous system are tied in hand in hand. Your thymus gland, for example, is controlled in the upper part of your neck. That's why when you have symptoms of any sort, we ask you to come in so we can check the very top part of your neck. That way, by adjusting that, we can spike your immune system function and help you heal faster. So what if you do get the flu? Well, this is the recommendation from Dr. Mercola. He says if you do get the flu, one of the most important and one of the simplest things you can use is hydrogen peroxide in your ears. I read that he says take half a cap in both ears for 15 to 30 seconds is all. Simple hydrogen peroxide, half cap, several times a day is more likely to abort the flu reaction. It's cheap, you have nothing to lose. He says, I can guarantee you that it's less toxic and more effective than any flu vaccine on the planet. Here are other options. Eat a healthy diet and avoid sugar. We already mentioned that. Get plenty of rest. Eat fresh garlic regularly if you can. It's a great immune system strengthener. Use an effective tool to help you address the stress in your life. If you have tons of stress, we know that weakens your immune system. Try to manage that stress properly. Wash your hands regularly. Take fish oil or cod liver oil and then exercise regularly. Exercise is, again, it's a well-known stimulant to your immune system. And then that's all by Dr. Mercola. I say get adjusted regularly to improve your nervous system function and thus spike your immune system function. And then, of course, supplement with the following if necessary. Your Green Pastures fermented cod liver oil, Garden of Life vitamin code, raw D3, and then Conjuplex by standard process. Don't risk it. Take proactive measures to protect your health, to ensure your health. Have your family and friends come see me or another doctor of chiropractic near them. They don't have to come see me. They can just be adjusted by anybody that's close. Because an adjustment is going to help improve your nervous system function, which is going to protect the function of your immune system and help fight any sort of illness. It could save their life. Thank you so much for attending tonight. You've been a great audience. I'm going to shut this down, but I'll answer questions here in just a moment.